G'day, welcome to Market Sam After Work. Today I want to do a short video on firearms in Australia. Largely driven by the fact that I get lots of questions of, I thought guns were illegal in Australia, and no, that's not the case. That's, be it political or be it media, folks that probably you shouldn't listen to everything they tell you because they're not necessarily telling you the truth. But no, it's not the case. Firearms are legal in Australia. We have lots of rules to go with them, and there's certainly been instances where there's been extra restrictions and there's been buybacks and all sorts of things that have happened over history in Australia. The nutshell of it all, from prior to that to today, there are more firearms now than there were then. The main restrictions we've got that have come into Australia have been largely about the semi-automatic rifle, so especially the military ones, but or versions of, so be it the Mini 14, be it the AR-15, be it the older semi-automatic military firearms, they all were heavily restricted. Didn't mean you can't own them, you just can't sell them, you can't transfer them, a dealer can't sell them. They're quite complicated to do without very specific, very heavily restricted license to go with it. So the normal punter can't have them. And years ago when this happened, there was a buyback, which is the main thing that went through as a buyback, which was on a voluntary basis, which most Australians didn't even realise, but was on a voluntary basis. Although the government paid quite handsomely for these firearms, you didn't have to hand them in. A little bit of, most people didn't realise that. Most people, as governments tend to operate, were under the impression that they had to hand them back in, and so they did what they were told. But that is something that all of Australia went through. And so the semi-automatic rifles are largely not there, and you need special licenses to sell them or try and use them and that sort of stuff. Quite complicated and that side of things. Beyond that point, we have all the bolt action rifle, all that sort of stuff. We can purchase them. They are a fully registered firearm registry we have, which is state by state. The federal side of things isn't really tied up. It isn't something that works all over Australia. It is its own bits and pieces, state by state sort of system. And yes, every firearm does have to be registered, and that includes handguns, semi-automatic handguns, revolvers, all that sort of stuff. We all have them. Not we all have them, but lots of people have them. That is for sporting use. Is largely the reason have them. So there's lots of clubs with competitions and that sort of thing, and that's the reason to have your handgun. And there's all obviously security work and that sort of stuff where people get special license to use handguns as well. But listen, that's the quick nutshell of it. Main thing to come back to, don't believe everything they're telling you. Yes, firearms are legal over here. Yes, there's lots of restrictions, and we would like there to be less for sure. But hey, we're working with what we've got. The last bit I would say is that for us, on our channel, yes, we have more firearms or access to more firearms, which is hard for most of the normal punter. And the key ingredient we've got there is that I have full gunsmithing and repairers licenses, which gives me the ability to show and display different firearms, still in the category A and category B, which is bolt action centerfire rifles and that style of things. It doesn't extend to using semi-automatic rifles, but because of those licenses, I get to use a little bit more than the normal just shooter, punter, because of the gunsmith side of things. But anyway, that's the quick nutshell of what it is. As for comments and questions and the political conversation, not something I'm going to get into, something that I'm probably not going to enable the comments on this one. It's just simply an information video to help explain that question of, I thought guns weren't allowed in Australia. Well, yes, they are. Anyway, guys, I hope that's informative. Thank you for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.